What is going on, baseball fans? We are back. Welcome to episode 1 of season 2 of This Week in Baseball presented by Diamond Digest. I'm your host, Jordan Lazowski, and I'm joined by quite the lovely crew this lovely morning. We've got Diego Franco-Carreno, the A's fan this morning instead of the Giants fan. We have Sean Huff, the always Philadelphia Phillies fan, and Thatcher Zalewski, the fellow White Sox ride or die fan. How are we doing this morning, gentlemen?
Good.
Doing well.
Yes.
Awake,
Yes, yeah.
Diego, over there? As awake as you
Yeah.
can be?
Oh, yeah. Awake enough.
With the product placement of the Diamond Digest coffee mug.
What product placement? I don't know what you're talking about.
We are doing well. This is a seasoned crew right here. If you're new to the page or new to This Week in Baseball in general, what we do during the season every week, we recap what's happened in the past week, in this case, week and a half of the season. And we tell you some of the highlights, some of the analysis, some of the recaps, and then we tell you what to look forward to this coming week. Maybe a certain game to pay attention to, maybe a certain debut, something like that. So we got plenty of fun for you on this podcast. We're going to do something a little different with the news updates than we have in the past. But first, let's get to the standings updates. As you know, they are not doing expanded playoffs in Major League Baseball this year, so it will be back to a 5-team per league playoff. So if the season ended today, the Boston Red Sox would win the AL East, the Minnesota Twins would win the AL Central, and the Houston Astros and LA Angels would be tied in in the AL West. Whichever team would not be winning that tiebreaker would be the AL wildcard leader, and the final AL wildcard team would be the Cleveland Indians. If we head over to the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies would win the NL East. Yeah, Sean gives a little smile. The Cincinnati Reds would win the NL Central, and the Dodgers would win the NL West. Your two wild card teams out there would be the San Diego Padres and a tie between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Francisco Giants. So there would be more tiebreakers there. But Sean, as the only fan of a team in the top of the standings, Diego, you kind of count, even though they're not at the top of the NL West. Any early season thoughts on your Phillies?
Yeah, they've looked a lot better. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think in my season preview, I had them winning 86 games, but the bullpens looked a lot better. Jose Alvarado is so much fun to watch when their games aren't on blackout. The top of the rotation is really, really good. I still wish they'd signed Kevin Gausman. That would have been a great, really deep rotation.
Not allowed.
If they stay healthy, I think they're going to contend for a wild card. But if one of Nola, Wheeler, and Eflin goes down, that could be really rough.
The NL East is going to be a tough one. I don't think the Mets are a 2-3 team. I don't necessarily think the Braves are only a 500 team moving forward. And as for Kevin Gausman, no, Diego, that is the White Sox midseason trade acquisition. So don't get too attached out there in San Francisco.
You also wanted Yaz last year. Like, apparently that's a thing. Like, the White Sox wanted Yaz a lot.
The fan base actually really wanted him this offseason. They wanted the Sox to trade for him.
There was some saw that about the fan base wanting him, some like off-season plans.
So, but I'll just take Gausman. You can keep Yaz.
You can have neither.
White Sox don't need Gausman. They already have a solid top three, and then Kopech and Prochet and whoever else you want to throw in.
That's true.
Starts.
Yeah,
you guys are fine.
I will say that does need to be reevaluated at the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens there. But just don't get too attached, because if someone goes down, we're coming for Gausman.
Hey, tie for the second wild card after a week. I mean, we're in the thick of it. We did take 2 or 3 against the Padres. So
that was a good series.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that was a good series. Thatcher looks like he just got up this morning with his little yawn in the side corner down there. So to recap a little bit of the news across the week, instead of me talking at you for 5 minutes like we did last season, what we're going to do this season, at least try, is what we're going to call Around the League in 60 seconds. So each of our panelists here will get 60 seconds to recap what they consider the biggest news, the highlights of the week. They can do it however they want, informative, fun, write a poem. I don't really care. But it's better than hearing me talk for 5 minutes about the news. We are going to start with the longest tenured member of Diamond Digest on this panel. We're going to start with Diego. You got 60
Are they the longest tenured in general?
I don't know if you're the longest tenured in general, but I think you're longer than I am. But you're up there.
Okay. Okay, so around the league in 60 seconds. Most exciting thing that's happened so far, Joe Musgrove, the San Diego native, throwing a no-hitter. Was absolutely fantastic to watch. Now every team in Major League Baseball has a no-hitter for their franchise. Joe Musgrove pulled through. Very fun to watch. It was exciting. It's really cool. The Padres are a fun team. But on the flip side of that, they lose Fernando Tatis Jr. For at least a little while, which is really tough to watch, tough to see. Hoping he'll be able to bounce back as soon as he possibly can, because he's good for baseball. You love to watch him. The sport's just not the same without him. Going around there, we've had some other pretty solid pitching performances around the league. Some teams that you wouldn't expect have been playing pretty well. The Orioles are 500 right now. The Blue Jays are below 500, not something people expect to see. The Angels have been impressive this year so far. The A's have been not as impressive this year so far, but it's all been, baseball's back. It's good to see. We're seeing a lot of fun stuff, and can't wait for several more weeks of this.
Just several?
Several. At least 4.
He's not wrong.
I'm not.
True. Sean, let's go to you.
All right. So on the team side, it hasn't taken long for the Dodgers to remind everyone they're really, really good. They're probably going to challenge for the single season win record. In the AL, the Astros are reminding everyone, oh yeah, they're still a great team. They might win 95 games this year, and no one should really be surprised by that. But for me, it's been mostly about individual performances so far. Mike Trout continues to be Mike Trout. Jacob deGrom has been deGrommed twice. He's given up 1 run in, I think, 14 and 2/3 innings. He has an ERA of like 0.6, and the Mets are 0-2 at his starts. One that's really stuck out to me is Julian Merriweather has just been unbelievable in the Blue Jays bullpen. That's been a lot of fun to watch. Jordan and Thatcher, I apologize. The White Sox bullpen has been not as fun to watch as I expected, although Garrett Crochet is still a personal favorite. Yeah, I think that covers all the guys I wanted to highlight, except for the ones I'm going to bring up in overreactions later.
Oh, look at that teaser. Yeah.
Foresight.
The Sox bullpen hasn't been fun for anybody. It's fun when it's deployed correctly, but that's
seen a lot of Laz Twitter rants about
that's a 10-minute
bullpen.
rant. Yeah, that's not a good avenue for me to go
Use
down.
Liam Hendricks against Trout and Rendon.
You need to use Liam Hendricks when you have the lead. I don't think they've done that, or in a safe situation. They have not done that yet, and it's game 8 today. I already feel myself going down the wrong road. We're turning it over to Thatcher for your around the league in 60 seconds.
All right. So the Reds have offense is actually showing some life after failing to do so in the postseason. Nick Castellanos is showing he's a really fun player and did not deserve that suspension at all, because you see NBA players doing that on the regular in games. So Nick Castellanos did not deserve that suspension. It was nice to see Lance Lynn throw a complete game shutout in his debut as a White Sox in guaranteed right field. And then the Nationals, I do not think are a 1-4 team. I think that they're way better than that. I just think the COVID stuff has hit them hard, especially when Jonathan Lucroy is your opening day catcher, and he didn't not make the White Sox opening day roster over Zach Collins and Yermin Mercedes. So, yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for now.
I actually like that a lot. I think we're going to keep that. That was different. That was better than me talking at you. And that was around the league in 60 seconds for these guys. I think we highlighted some of the big things, the no-hitter out in San Diego, but also Tatis getting hurt are 2 very big storylines in terms of what's happening, especially what's gonna do to the Padres. I'm reading things that's saying they're probably gonna bring Tatis back sooner than later. I'm curious to see what kind of shape he's in. I don't think that's good for his long-term health, but that's completely separate topic for the Padres to decide. I that worries me a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially with injury concerns in the past. I don't think that's good to bring back early. Just let him rest. You've got enough depth there in San Diego.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They
they're
want healthy
well
long
deep
term.
with good position players.
Yeah.
They're as
how-
well equipped as anybody to replace someone like that.
Right.
Mhm.
You're not going to get the same production, but you're going to get something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's really it for the weekly
Well,
recap.
How
Go
did
ahead, Sean.
Let's bring up Ohtani.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there was going to be some sort of reaction early in the season, but
Yeah, I figured it's going to be mentioned at some
Yeah, I
point.
didn't-
but
I didn't
Otani's
even-
a good point. Just completely obliterating both sides of the ball currently.
Otani's doing what everyone hoped he'd been doing. and
Right.
It's so exciting.
Just that doesn't. It's not exciting when it's against your team.
That's fair.
It's still
fair.
pretty exciting.
It was still pretty exciting,
Yeah.
but it's not as exciting when the Sox lose.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard
Fair.
to get like behind it when he's dominating your team. You're like, oh, this sucks. Get him out of here.
Just give it a week and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
blame the Angels' other two-way player for that one.
yeah. Oh yeah, Jared Walsh.
Jared Walsh, yeah.
Jared Walsh.
That
Also exciting.
broadcast was something.
Yeah, I think I was on the hot mic for it. Yeah, I was on the hot mic for that game. So
Yeah, that broadcast was something. But let's get into our main segment, the seventh inning stretch. My favorite part, because I get to arbitrarily award points based on how I think people are arguing on this. There are absolutely no rules for the point scoring other than you have to do it all in under 60 seconds because we like to keep these recaps to keep the conversation going. So I got 7 questions here for the seventh inning stretch. I know, super clever. Best argument determined by me and only me arbitrarily wins. Let's start with inning number 1, our first question of seventh inning stretch this year. Give me your best and most dramatic overreaction, either positive or negative, to something that has happened to start this season. We are going to start with Diego.
All right. So I think my biggest overreaction so far is that the Oakland A's need a fire sale out there, that they are going to be an awful team this year. 3-7. What are they doing? Get rid of Chapman, get rid of Olsen, get rid of everybody, start from the ground up. Just like their stadium needs to be started from the ground up, but the team instead. But yeah, I think the A's have looked not great this year, and I've seen a lot of people complaining about it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, they're supposed to be, competing for that the title in the AL West," and I think they still will. It's just, we're 10 games in. Calm down. So I think the A's, they're not super talked about all the time because it's a pretty small market team, fun to watch, good for baseball, but a lot of people on Twitter are like, get rid of everybody. It's time to start over. It's not. Just give it some time. But yeah, that's my overreaction. The A's will be fine, but people seem to disagree.
It's easy to overreact 10 games into the season. I will say that.
It is.
Being a Sox
It
fan.
is.
Thatcher, what you got?
So my biggest overreaction is the Nick Madrigal slander on Twitter. I'm a Nick Madrigal
boy.
supporter, and I know I'll get hate on for this, but he has played less than 40 career games. He's jumping into a season where the Sox are all talking that they have World Series aspiration. He's a young kid. He's going to be fine. I think he's going to put it together, and the Sox will not have to worry about a second baseman going forward. I'm a big Madrigal fan, and I think he will be fine. I see him eventually putting the ball into the outfield for some, and then racing out some extra base hits because he does have some speed, and that was shown in the Mariners series as he reached first to third on a hit. So, and his defense, I think he's just nervous out there. I don't think he looks nervous, and you can see him get down on himself after he makes a bad play. So he's taking it to heart. So I think Nick Madrigal will be fine.
I am a noted fan of the pick, but I have since soured since he was drafted. I don't know how that's going to fare for your point standings on this one, but we're going to talk to Sean and see what he thinks.
All right, here we go. And I am so happy to say it because I am a huge fan of this guy. I think he's the true most fun player in baseball. Byron Buxton is finally an MVP candidate. He has a 322 WRC plus. He already equaled his walk total from last year. I know it's been 26 plate appearances, but come on, Byron Buxton is here. He hits the ball super hard. He might be the best defender in baseball. Unbelievable base runner. I'm a huge Buxton fan. I've had him fourth in my top 10 center fielders 2 years in a row. I had my top 40 players overall this year. He is an MVP candidate. All he needs to do is put up 500 plate appearances, and he will be getting at least down ballot votes. And if he stays healthy, he is the number 2 center fielder in baseball behind the GOAT.
That's a statement.
That is a statement.
Yeah.
I almost want to give it to you for making a statement like that. But I am a White Sox. Here's the arbitrary part. I'm a White Sox. So I'm not I am all for twin slander. I'm giving the point to Diego for the absolute fire sale while wearing an Oakland A's jersey and hat. I am
This jersey's the best part of that franchise right now. Let's be real.
Point to Diego as we head to inning number 2. Joe Musgrove threw the first no-hitter in Padres history on Friday night. How impressive do you consider this no-hitter to compare to some of the recent ones, and predict who will throw the next no-hitter? Sean, since you technically probably had the best argument on that one, but I didn't give it to you, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, so I thought he was super impressive. 1 hit by pitch. He had, a dozen strikeouts, something like that. He was super impressive. He wasn't up to the level of the historic Kershaw no-hitter or either of the Scherzer ones, but those 2 are Hall of Famers. You can give him a pass there. He was really close to the level of the Giolito no-hitter last year, and that was super dominant. It was certainly better than the Alec Mills one. But the next no-hitter, this one's a pretty easy one for me. Every time he pitches, I tweet that he's pitching this day. I hope he's the best pitcher in baseball at some point. It's Tyler Glass now. He has the nastiest stuff I've ever seen. He's a 9th inning guy throwing 7 innings every game. And now can I say the name of his new pitch on the recording?
Sure.
He added the slutter to his arsenal. It's looked great. He's getting a ton of swing and misses. He's only had 2 walks in 15 innings, which is a huge improvement for him. He's still averaging 97 on his fastball. He's going to throw the next no-hitter. And if his pitch count is too high, well, remember it's the Rays bullpen.
Thatcher?
So yeah, I agree that Joe Musgrove's no-hitter was pretty impressive. And I actually was going to compare it to the Lucas Giolito no-hitter from last year, mainly because the Rangers and Pirates are kind of similar offenses in the fact that they aren't very good. And he got a lot of swing and misses as he had 10 strikeouts. The only bad thing was he hit Joey Gallo, but I mean, I thought Joey Gallo would be the one to break it up, and he didn't. So I think it was pretty impressive. I think you can't take away from it just because I didn't take away from Giolito's no-hitter when it was against the Pirates. So I don't think you can take away from Musgrove's no-hitter against the Rangers, especially because the Rangers offense kind of has had some hot bats lately. So I don't think you can take away from it, and I think it's really impressive. So no matter what, it's a no-hitter. That's really hard to do, and it's impressive. And for who I think will throw the next no-hitter, I'm just going to be biased here, but I'm going with Lance Lynn. He was dominant in the home opener start. He had 63 pitches through 6 innings, and the only reason his pitch count started getting higher up is because he gave up 2 straight singles. But he had a no-hitter, a perfect game in the 5th, 6th inning, and the only reason it got broken up is because he didn't go cover first base on a ball hit to the second base gap that Abreu went and got because they were shifted. So I'm going with Lance Lynn. It's a biasy pick, but I think he has the stuff to do it.
Funny story about that Lynn thing. My dad was like, why didn't he cover? I'm like, I think the big dude was just like, this is not worth it. I'm dealing. Yeah. We've got a 4-0 lead. I don't think I legitimately think he's like, I'm making a decision here to not cover first base.
I respect it.
I was like, I totally respect the fact that he looked at it like, I'm up 4-0. I'm dealing, whatever.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I would love for that to be the story. Diego.
All right, yeah. So yeah, extremely impressive no hitter, one hit by pitch. I think Lucas Giolito is the obvious comparison. Like I hate to just agree across the board, but I mean, I think that's really where it's at. Like it was a very impressive no hitter. Lucas Giolito's no hitter last year was extremely impressive as well. And so it's just no hitters are fun to watch, and I think the next no hitter is going to come from someone you don't really expect it to, because Joe Musgrove wasn't someone anyone thought was going to throw a no hitter this year, except for people who were like, he's vibing. I don't remember who that was, but like Joe Musgrove's vibing.
That was my
was that you,
pick.
Sean? There we go, perfect. So yeah, the next pitcher I think is going to be vibing this year is going to be Jose Barrios, the Twins. Not the top of the like tier pick you think, but he's got really good stuff. He's fun to watch, and in a division where he plays the Tigers, Cleveland, and the Royals, and I don't expect those teams to keep up the production quite as much as they. I mean, they've all been pretty solid so far this year, but they're gonna show their true colors eventually. Barrios is gonna get plenty of starts against them, and I think if any, it's gonna come from any division. It's gonna come from the Twins or the White Sox as well. So Jose Barrios, I like the pick. I like watching him pitch, and I think he can do it.
I like all three of those picks. I'm not going to assign points until we figure out if one of those actually throws a no hitter. Because if I assign a point and then someone else throws the no hitter, well, it's not so fair. So no points.
Looks
for that.
bad on last.
So I actually like all three of those picks. Those are all really sneaky good picks. Unless there's a ground ball to first base anytime soon, Lynn's not getting it. Inning 3. Trevor Bauer had, this is actually a very interesting topic. Trevor Bauer had, quote, multiple suspicious baseballs sent to Major League Baseball for inspection. As you know, Major League Baseball has said they're going to start cracking down on the amount of foreign substances used on baseballs, looking at things like spin rate or taking balls directly out of play right when they see it. So my question is, how much will MLB actually crack down on this suspected foreign substance use? And do you believe there's any ulterior motives surrounding Bauer's inspection so early in the season, as he has multiple suspicious baseballs in play? And as we know, he's been pretty outspoken about how easy it is to increase your spin rate just using some sort of foreign substance. Thatcher, we'll start with you.
So I, with the suspicions in here, I think it's based on mostly just Bauer for now, because he's been so outspoken, and just because like he has his YouTube channel and how he's always kind of against the MLB, it seems. So I mean, the MLB is probably against him in a way. And I see it as Bauer's, like, he used to be super against foreign substances, and he wanted the MLB to crack down on this stuff, and they didn't. So, and I guess if he figured you can't beat him, then you join him. And I heard a theory that part of the reason why he got so much money from the Dodgers is because he found a way to develop a substance that doesn't get detected, and he was going to share it with the rest of the Dodgers pitchers. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but Bauer's spin rate did jump up in the past years, and I don't really think MLB is going to crack down on it as much. I think they're just kind of setting this as like a warning shot, basically, like, hey, we're serious about this, we're going to look into it, but not really at the same time. So that's my take on it.
Diego.
Yeah, I think that the MLB is probably not going to come down with the hammer anytime soon. I think the multiple suspicious baseballs from Bauer, just because, kind of like Thatcher said, it's like Bauer's like, I hate the MLB, but here we are. It's kind of like how it feels. And he's been, known for a flair for the dramatic from time to time or every single day. But it's what he does, and it's kind of just his brand at this point. And so the suspicious baseball thing, I think, is almost what he wanted, if you think about it. So yeah, I think if anything, the MLB is just trying to gather this data at this point. So I think it's probably, won't see any suspensions or anything for it until next season at the earliest. And so I think that they're going to be covering their bases now. He's probably being targeted a little bit, but he wants it. The MLB is going to give it to him, the reporters and everyone. So, I mean, just let Trevor Bauer be Trevor Bauer. You like him, you hate him. He's just going to be him. Nothing's going to stop that. So,
Sean?
So I have a little bit of a different view here. I think they are going to crack down a little bit on the real obvious guys, Bauer, Garrett Cole. But I think it'll fade over time as they realize, like, okay, maybe you can track this with a four-seam fastball, but there are still guys throwing. There's Devin Williams throwing a 3,000 RPM changeup or airbender, and Dylan Maples is the spinniest pitcher in baseball. There's nothing you can do about that. So I think they'll lay off after a while. As for Bauer, of course, it was targeting he and Rachel Luba sell legalized pine tar shirts. Of course, they were targeting him. But that being said, I'm really happy to see it. He deserves it. I'm all for Trevor Bauer being a bad pitcher. I'm all for anything happening to him. It would be great to see him get suspended. It would be great to see him put up a 5 ERA.
And in this answer, we have seen the spectrum of where you can probably lie as either a fan or a hater of Trevor Bauer. I happen to personally be a fan. I think he's nuts and I love it. And I do think my personal opinion is there was some clear targeting here. I'm going to go with Thatcher on this one for posing that insane conspiracy potential theory that he developed a potential substance that can't be detected. If you're going to come on here and throw that conspiracy theory, you're going to get a point from me.
I hadn't heard that at all. Like,
I
that's
had
new
not
to
heard
me.
that at all.
Neither had I, but imagine
into
Dustin
it.
May with that.
Yeah.
Oh my! Imagine the entire just bullpen with that.
Mm-hmm. As if they
So
really
yeah,
need it. Like, let's be honest.
I know,
Someone
right?
like Victor Gonzalez or Corey Knable would just be unhittable.
Walker Bueller.
Yeah.
Bueller
Literally.
already has high spin though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but higher spin.
True.
Increase more.
Oh, inning 4. Let's jump to it. We've had many debuts so far, some pretty impressive ones, especially from guys like Akil Baddoo, Jonathan India, and Yermin Mercedes, who, although he did have a plate appearance last year, this is technically his debut. That's just to name a few, of course. Which of these players do you feel is most likely to keep up their hot streak to begin the season? Let's start with Diego.
Yeah, so I think Baddoo has been incredibly fun, like to watch, to just witness what he's been doing. His first 3 games, this 3 major, the triple in game 3, the home run, he had the everything going for him in those first 3 games. Production wise, I'm not sure if he'll be able to keep it up. He doesn't also like get the most playing time on that Tigers team, but wouldn't be surprised to see it increase. Of the 3 names you just gave, I think India is probably the most likely to continue like keeping it up. I think he's going to get the most playing time of those 3, and we're going to see what he does. He's great on defense. He's made some highlight reel plays already. His savant numbers aren't the best in the world, but they'll improve over time as he gets more at bats, more play appearances. I think the defense alone will make him an impressive player, and I think for a rookie on the infield, that's enough. So I like India a lot. I think he's going to be doing some pretty cool things this year, and so that's my pick for keeping it up.
I didn't word this question particularly well. If you feel there's someone who's had a hot start that isn't one of those 3, Sean and Thatcher, you're more than welcome to name them. I did not word it particularly well, but Diego, I don't feel bad telling you after the fact. So that's okay. Sean.
So I'm going to agree with Diego. I think India is the best player of the 3. He's the best defender of the 3. He plays second base, so he gets the positional adjustment, at least in F4. He's going to end the season with the highest WAR. But he's not hitting the ball hard at all. I was looking yesterday, he has something like 270 xWOBA, and I know it's only a few games, but still that doesn't bode well. Of these 3, I know I slandered him earlier. The answer is Mercedes. He's probably going to get the least playing time of the 3 of them. So just statistically, he's going to regress the least. This hot start will mean the most for him. But I'll go off the board for my real answer and say Taylor Trammell, who's not off to the hottest start, but he has a 104 WRC plus. He hit his first major league home run yesterday. I think he's looked really impressive. I really like his swing. He's really athletic. He's probably going to continue to get some playing time, even when Kyle Lewis gets back and when Kalenic comes up, just because the Mariners are the Mariners. They're going to try out whoever they can, and they're probably going to trade Mitch Haniger. I know you want him traded to the White Sox.
Keep it trending. Let's go.
So yeah, if I have to pick one of the 3, I'll say Mercedes. If I can just pick any rookie, I really like Taylor Trammell.
Thatcher?
Yeah, I like the
Probably
Trammell.
guess your answer.
I like the Trammell pick. I was thinking him, but I've got to go with my guy, your mean Mercedes. To be honest, he's actually put together some really good at bats. Like watching him in game, he's got like much better plate discipline than people would have expected, in my opinion. He's taken a lot of first pitches and just working counts. He's not K'ing as much as people. He's not really K'ing at all. If that people thought he would. I think the only game he struck out so far this year is the Ohtani game, and Ohtani's looked really good. So it makes sense. He's giving Tony La Russa no reason not to play him this year. He's connecting offensively very well. Hit a 485-foot home run. He's putting the ball in play too. It's not like he's popping out, but they're deep enough where runners can move on that stuff. And I just think with his production, and he will get a lot of playing time just because they're testing Andrew Vaughn out in left field to see if he can play there to replace Eloy, because they regard of him very highly of his offensive talent. And Collins, they see him as more of the backup catcher more than anything else, in my opinion. And so I think Mercedes is just going to continue to be the DH until he stops hitting, until the car runs out of the gas. So Mercedes is my pick.
His savant numbers look really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hitting the ball really hard.
Yeah.
This is where some of the subjectivity comes into play. I'm going to give everybody a point for a completely different reason. Diego Jonathan India is on my fantasy team, so I like your answer. Sean, you mentioned Mitch Haniger to the White Sox. That's an automatic point. Thatcher, you picked the homer pick, and your mean Mercedes, you all get a point on that one.
You mentioned Haniger to the White Sox. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Keep that trending until it happens. Inning 5. Fact or fiction, we as fans overrated the Toronto Blue Jays. Sean.
I'll say fiction. At least on my end, I didn't have the Blue Jays as a wild card. I had them coming a little bit short just because I think the Rays are really good. But the Blue Jays are going to be fine. Hyunjin Ryu is great. Ross Stripling gave up a lot of runs in his first start, but I watched the start. His curve looked really, really good. His control looked really good. He struck out 5. He only walked 1. Steven Matz has looked pretty good. The back of their bullpen, I really like a lot. I like Dolis. I like Romano. And I already mentioned Merriweather. Springer's coming back at some point. Vlad has been really hitting. Kevin Biggio can't stay this cold forever. Alejandro Kirk is going to get more playing time at some point. He's going to rake. He's also just insanely fun to watch, so I really want him to get more playing time. The Blue Jays are going to be fine. They're in a tough division. The Yankees are great. The Rays are the Rays. But the Blue Jays are fine. They're going to win 89-ish games and be in contention for a wild card spot.
Thatcher?
No, I'm going to go with fact, only for the fact that because George Springer no one expected George Springer to go down early, and I didn't really think their pitching was that strong to begin with outside of Ryu. I think they had a lot of unproven guys who could be good if they put the stuff together. I mean, I had them as I think the team outside, the best team outside of the playoffs. I think in my rankings, I had the Rays better because I think the Rays are an incredibly talented team and they always find diamonds in the rough. So I think the Rays are a better team. And the Blue Jays are going to be a good team. There's no denying that. They've got the great young talent on offense that will carry them to success. But I think as fans, we did overrate the Blue Jays just a bit because we really haven't seen them put it all together yet as a team.
And Diego.
Yeah, so I am going to agree with Sean here. I think we have not overrated the Blue Jays. I think that pitching is going to figure it out. Ryu was my Cy Young pick. I like Ryu a lot. I think he's sneaky good. I watched him for a lot of years with the Dodgers, playing kind of second fiddle to Kershaw for a long time. Got kind of, I don't want to say run out of town because that's not what happened. It's just they got better pitching, younger pitching, and the Blue Jays were the beneficiary of that. Matz will be, I think, really good. That offense definitely has the star power, and George Springer is going to be back at some point. He's going to hit well, I would think. The Blue Jays, I think, are a solid team, but that division is what kind of holds them back. The Yankees are really good. The Rays are pitching gods. So we'll see what happens there, but I think they can sneak into the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish outside the playoffs as well, like Thatcher said. But I think that's kind of where most people have rated them, either like the second wild card or right outside the playoffs. So I think they're perfectly rated for where they're at. They're a good team. They're fun to watch, and ultimately, I think that's kind of what matters here. But yeah, I like the Blue Jays. Their bullpen's cool. Merriweather, Diamond Digest favorite, Rafael Delis. Can't go wrong with that. So yeah, I think they're perfectly rated where they are. I think they're going to be fine.
Point's going to go to Diego because, Sean, while you did make a similarly convincing argument, you mentioned Jordan Romano, who somebody drafted before me in our fantasy league, and therefore I could not take him, even though I like him, and that brings up bad memories. So point's going to go to Diego.
Well, while we're on the subject of the Blue Jays, what happened with Ryu in our preseason starting pitcher rankings?
Where did he fall?
Only myself and one other person had him in their top 20, and I had him 6th.
Really?
I think I did.
Yeah, I think you're the only other one. I had him number 6.
I think I had him like 6, 7 as well.
I just think there's probably so many pitchers to pick from that people just forgot about him.
I think
Forget about him. He plays up in Toronto.
I think it's a very forgettable pick, I would say.
Yeah.
Nothing against him. He's a very good pitcher.
Mhm.
I think it's very easy.
My Cy Young pick.
Yeah. I mean, there's like Sean, Diego, it's like Cy Young type talent. It's like, well, yes, but I also probably just forgot about him, truthfully.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
So
a forgettable pitcher. No fault of his own.
no, it's absolutely no fault of his own. He's just quietly, consistently good.
Yeah.
So. Inning 6 over the weekend, the Yankees optioned Domingo Germán after 2 pretty brutal outings to start the season. Given the information that has come out surrounding some of Germán's actions off the field over this offseason and just some of the general reaction to him earning a roster spot this season, is this the beginning of the end of Germán's career? And we will start with Diego.
So yeah, Germán, not a great start to the season. Not a fan of Germán. I don't think it's hard to say anyone really is. Is this the beginning of the end? I hope so. Do I think it is? Probably not. And that's just the sad reality of the sports world. A lot of the time, these things don't seem to matter. And it's unfortunate it shouldn't be that way, but it's kind of where we're at. I think myself and a lot of other fans of anyone, any team, any sport at all would like to say that that's something that would easily end someone's career, but that's not the case. So do I hope it's the beginning of the end? Yes. Is it going to be the beginning of the end? Probably not. And it's unfortunate. But it's the world we live in right now. So yeah, that's what I got.
Thatcher?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Diego here. I don't think it's gonna be the beginning of the end to his career, because I feel like the Yankees known for having a lot of injuries. I think one pitcher goes down, he's gonna be one of the first guys called back up to the big leagues. I mean, the Yankees seem like they don't really care about that type of stuff, like the off the field issues with players. So I mean, I agree with Diego totally that it should be the end of his career, start to the end of his career, but I don't think it will be.
And Sean?
Yeah, we're gonna agree across the board here. It really should be the end of his career, but the Yankees don't really care. Zach Britton is the one who was really opposed to Germán being on the roster. He's hurt right now, so he doesn't have much of a say. And even though Germán's got crushed in his first 2 outings, like people are hitting the ball really hard against him. It's like a 48% hard hit rate. His strikeouts and his walks are right in line with where they always have been. The Yankees have Kluber and Taillon in their rotation. One of them is going to get hurt at some point. I hope not, but it's going to happen. Germán can't keep giving up 5 homers per 9. It's just not possible. He's going to be back at some point, and Yankee fans are still going to cheer for him.
Yeah. I think y'all kind of hit on it. There's an unfortunate reality that comes in sports. It's a business first, and if he serves some sort of purpose to the business, he'll stick around. Certainly not the only case of some sort of domestic issues off the field. Unfortunately, probably won't be the last, but hopefully at some point there's some sort of stand against these sorts of actions. So, but again, the unfortunate reality of baseball is a business at the end of the day.
Sports in general.
Sports in general are a business, and we as fans don't tend to view it that way, but take that step back and you can see it's the unfortunate reality of the situation.
Yeah. It's not even the only one on his team.
Right. It's just how it becomes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But let's jump into the final question here, the 7th inning. Joe Musgrove said he drank 11 or 12 bottles of water during the no-hitter he threw, yet somehow held it in. Quote, that was one of the one things I didn't want to break the superstition of. I didn't want to have to use the bathroom in the middle of a start. Give me your best superstition, your craziest one, whatever it might be, or your best superstitious moment. I've got a ton of them. I am incredibly superstitious. Thatcher, we'll start with you.
My biggest one is probably the biggest one across the board, and it's an obvious pick, but it's talking about the no-hitter or perfect game while it's going on. I mean, I'll be watching the game. It's only the 5th inning, and then it's like, I'm like, he's got a no-hitter perfect game, and my brother will come and be like, he has a no-hitter? I'm like, shut up. Don't talk about it. Like,
He's vibing.
Yeah. I remember watching like a Miguel Gonzalez White Sox start at a restaurant once, and he had like a no-hitter through 5 or going into the 6th inning, and I'm like, no one say a word about it. And I was here like, I think Jason Benetti is like the king of talking about it while it's going.
He says it a lot. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, shut up. I know it doesn't do anything, but it's just like, shut up. You're not supposed to talk about it. It's like, I like you as an announcer, but dude, just don't talk about it.
Sean?
Well, I was going to go with vibing, but
Vibing.
now I'll go with a completely non-baseball related one. So when I was in high school, I was on my team. My school's a Scholastic Scrimmage team, which is basically Quiz Bowl. And we were really, really good. We were one of the best teams in the state. We were a top 10 team in the state 2 years in a row. Well, we had a tradition. So for whatever reason, my class was really good. It was myself and 2 other guys in my class played varsity 4 years. So we had a tradition since our freshman year when we went to the regional tournament our freshman year, that whenever we had a big match, we would all get a bottle of Smart Water. And it started out just as a punny thing. But when I was a junior, we won our regional tournament and ended up tying for 4th in the state tournament. So we decided, hey, it works. And that actually outlived my class because when I graduated, my girlfriend became the captain of the team and kept that tradition going.
That's awesome.
It's only crazy if it doesn't work. Diego.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think traditions, superstitions kind of go hand in hand. I'm also a superstitious person. Yeah, I'm very superstitious as well. Something I do every day. I absolutely have to put my left shoe on before my right shoe.
That's absurd.
And I same thing with my socks too. So if I have socks and like if they're labeled left and right, and I pick the right one up first, I will put it back down to put my left sock or shoe on first.
That's absurd.
And I noticed when other people put it on their right sock or shoe first. Like my roommate was putting on his like shoes before we left to go somewhere. I'm like, why'd you put your right shoe on first? He's like, you're insane. I'm like, you're not wrong. So, but yeah, that's just me. That's what I do. Something else, it's completely random that I do. I have to like chug an energy drink right before I take any math exam. I started my freshman year of college, and I'm 4 years into it, and here we are. But yeah, I am also a very superstitious person.
I got to give the point to Sean for having a tradition outlive him. However, Diego, you made a real strong push right there. That's absurd. That is
really
absurd.
Look, I'm here now. It's only bad if it doesn't work, right?
The fact that
I'm a
it's
month away
shoes
from
and
graduation.
socks puts it over the top.
Look, I don't know what to tell you. I think it started because I played soccer in high school. I think that's where it started, and then like forever after that, I'm like, it's got to be the left first. I don't know why,
Oh
but
my
here we are.
I mean, I shouldn't make fun of you. I'm super superstitious. Like the sliding shorts I used to wear for baseball, I had to wear the same ones if I had a good game. Socks, same thing. If I had a good game, I had to wear the exact same socks. No hitters. I'll make this quick. I have a few fun stories about no hitters. Giolito's no hitter about the fourth inning when I'm like, oh, this is a no hitter. I had my leg crossed, like on top of my right leg crossed on top of my left leg. My leg was completely falling asleep. I did not move. I did not move. I did not say a word after the fourth inning. My leg, I could not feel my leg after that game.
Right?
What up? Oh, no hitters. I had to go to sleep. Well, Mark Burley was when I was a little bit younger. So I was like 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe even a little bit younger than
prime age.
So the prime age for you have a bedtime, you got to get up and go to school the next morning. Mark Burley's 2007 no-hitter. I was 10. No, it wasn't 2007. I think whenever it was, I was like 10 or 12, something like that. My mom was like, time to go to bed. I refused to say he was throwing a no-hitter, so I missed the back half of that no-hitter. And his perfect game, we were at Fridays, the restaurant. And we were like in the seventh inning and we left. And I didn't say anything again. So we were in the car listening to it instead of being at the restaurant watching it. So I refuse to say things during no hitters, even if it's like, hey, mom, can I really just stay up to watch this game type? Like, I refuse to say it. So I've missed those two. But when I played, like I would change out batting gloves. If I went 0 for 3, I'd walk up there without batting gloves. I'd roll my pants up, hands down, mid-game. One time I was 0 for 3. My pants were able to be rolled up, but also left down. Like they were weird like that. I rolled them up after going 0 for 3 and hit a triple. I'm like, it's because of stupid stuff. Like I am insanely superstitious. It is really bad. But those were all really funny ones. I'm glad we talked about that. That was phenomenal.
Didn't a kid in the Little League World Series do that a few years ago from that Pearland, Texas team or whatever? Would have like his socks up when he was pitching and down when he was hitting or something?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm like, I relate.
love the League World Series.
The League World
relate
Series is
to
the best.
Yeah, I have some with the during baseball games where like I think my team was in the championship and we won the first game and we played really well and my mom were like, oh, it's because my pants were rolled up. We played well. I'm like, I have to roll them up for the next game as well.
Yep. It's like,
I think it's funny. You mentioned the being places and like not moving during no hitters because I don't do that too. Like early 2010s when the Giants had like 3 or 4 years consecutive, like Tim Lincecum and like sandwiched by the Matt Cain perfect game. Like I remember one time I was sitting in my bed in the most uncomfortable position, 5th inning. Lincecum throwing a no hitter against the Padres, did not move.
it's
I
like,
was at a.
it's so stupid, but still, it's like I'm not doing it any differently.
Exactly. It's funny, but
Jordan, now
really
if you're
glad-
at a restaurant, you can just show your mom your phone, just be like,
I know, it's just like you never thought of it. It's like we
Yeah.
just left. I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. We're just gonna keep because it's like
you could have thought of vibing earlier.
It's like, yeah,
He's vibing.
yeah, we are behind our time here. Only thinking about it in 2021. You could have saved me like 10, 15 years ago.
No, I'm glad that I have my headphones on for this because when you mentioned the Giants no-hitters, my roommate who's a Giants fan is like 10 feet away maybe, like right outside. And he would have gone off for 10 minutes about the Chris Heston no-hitter.
Oh my God, the Chris Heston no-hitter. I remember I was at a Cheesecake Factory and we walked in the 7th inning and I stood there was one TV that had the game on. I stood there for 35 minutes while my family went and ate dinner. I stood there watching it until it ended. And then I went with them after. They're like, where have you been? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry. Like he threw a no-hitter. It worked.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was fun. 7th inning stretch was fun. I'm glad we did that last question. I think Diego had the most points. Yes, he did. Diego, very good round for you. The most experienced member of This Week in Baseball. So Thatcher certainly
2 and 4.
Yeah. So at least you don't have to sit and listen to Callie beat up on you on this one.
2021. I'm ahead of Callie for the 2021 season.
Yeah, shout out to Callie's
on the
marital
leaderboard.
problems.
Yeah, shout out to Callie's marital problems or inability to spell on our Discord. Go ahead. Let's bring it home here. And let's talk about what we're going to be watching this week. So this is where we talk about maybe a matchup, maybe a debut, something that we're really looking forward to that we think you should be too. We will start with the winner and go with Diego.
All right, I'm going to round out everything here with my A's everything today. A's Diamondbacks is what I'm watching today because kind of bringing up back earlier, I said like the fire sale people are right there. I think this A's Diamondbacks series is going to be a very good indicator of how the Oakland A's are going to look this year. The Diamondbacks, not the best team in the league, not the worst team in the league. If they can take at least 2 games, I think the A's will be absolutely fine. If they get swept or only take 1 from the Diamondbacks, I think there's a lot more reason for concern. And so a team that a lot of players, I think I had the A's actually winning the AL West. It's a lot of concern for a lot of people. So A's, Diamondbacks, plus like the A's are a fun team to watch, and the Diamondbacks aren't the worst team to watch in the league either. So that's gonna be good indicator of where both these teams may be standing after or for the rest of the season.
Sean, what you watching?
So mine's a game today. I'm gonna have to pirate it because I'm New York based. So
I don't know. What is that? We don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But Brent Honeywell, finally, he's back. It's been years. He throws a screwball. I know he's just going as an opener today. He'll probably go like 2 innings or something, maybe once through the order. But I'm really excited to see what he has. He looked great at times in the minors. He also looked really bad at times in the minors. I hope he looks great today. If for no other reason than I did the Rays season preview and said he was one of their like 70 major league players. Apologies to whoever had to edit that.
Shout out Rudy, probably.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, Honeywell is going to be a lot of fun, I hope.
And Thatcher.
So I'm going another bias. I've been pretty biased this whole podcast. So
Nothing wrong with
that. No way. I didn't notice. I wasn't sure.
And there is nothing wrong with it.
So I'm going, of course, White Sox Indians, mainly because the Sox are going to have their 3 best pitchers going that series. With Dylan Cease going today, so Carlos Rodon will be going tomorrow, and then Giolito, Keuchel, and Lynn will follow. So, and to see how the first time, like a big AL Central matchup this year, because the Royals, no one really expects them to contend this year. So interesting to see how the Indians favor against the Sox this year and how the Sox favor against the Indians, a team they struggled with majorly in 2020.
It's a team you got to beat.
Matchups.
Good pitching matchups, but a team you got to beat.
Love good pitching matchups.
Yeah.
So the Royals are kind of interesting. They have some guys who could be big at the deadline, like Kyle Zimmer, who was just so dominant last year. You could definitely see like the Padres or someone who needs bullpen help trading for him.
The Royals could also just be like a half decent team this year.
Yeah, the Royals could easily be
totally
over 500, and I wouldn't even blink. Like
I didn't expect that, but like here we are.
Right. So
Yeah, Michael A. Taylor MVP season.
Yeah, MV Taylor, am I right?
I just don't think their starting pitching is good enough to hold out.
No.
Probably not, but what if it does?
But it's like if it all kind of works, like it's like there's a world in which it all works, and that's
Bubic could be
This might be this one.
Yeah, so that's the crazy thing about baseball, and it's a good thing it's back. But
We love baseball.
that's going to do it for us here. Thank you all for joining with our first episode of season 2 of This Week in Baseball. Make sure to follow us on our website, diamond-digest.com, at Twitter, at diamond_digest. Keep track of all these little dashes and underscores because we did a great job keeping these straight. Instagram, diamond.digest. And then as well as on our YouTube. And now we're doing things on Twitch and Hot Mic. So make sure when you see those streams come up, make sure to tune in, especially if you're someone who doesn't like the national broadcasts. We're watching the same games, but we're having a little bit of fun doing it. And we know that it's not necessarily something that everyone wants to tune into is that national broadcast. We provide that outlet for everybody else. So make sure to follow us everywhere, especially those Hot Mic streams, those Twitch streams where we're doing live games too. We just got a different crew than everybody else, but got a whole group of talented writers who are already on the page. We're going to be adding a whole group of talented writers soon. Basically, we're really excited about the season and what we're going to bring, and we think you should be too. So thanks for tuning into this episode. We'll bring you one every week. We're looking forward to it, but make sure to check out all our other great content as well. For Diego Franco-Carreno, Sean Huff, and Thatcher Zalewski, this is Jordan Lazowski signing off. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week. See you soon.
Go baseball.